Hello, sickle cell fam. I am currently in the hospital because I had a crisis. As you can see, I'm still doing okay though. A lot of people ask me, what is a port and why do you need a port? Some sicklers, they're older, and back in the day, they did not have a port. There was no port. There really wasn't any medicine. That's why a lot of people died young. My mom's dad, he died when he was 21 years old of sickle cell anemia. And I had someone who was close to our family, called him an uncle. He died in jail of sickle cell anemia, and he was in his 20s. A port is, after so much of being stuck over and over and over with needles, your veins tend to not be good. You get scars and you get scar tissue and all of that. So it takes a while to find a vein, and you're called a hard stick. I am a hard stick. So because I'm a hard stick, I was given a port. The port goes, well, I've seen people with ports in their side. I wish I had one in my side. Why did it have to be here? But people have them on their side. They have them on their chest. What is going on? And they have them in their arms. I've seen the side. Shout out to Amika. Hey. I've seen the chest, of course, because I have one. And I've seen one person with the arm. They put you have to go to surgery to get it put in. You're put to sleep. Some people are woke. It's a twilight sleep. I was fully knocked out because before we even got in there, I started like having a panic attack. I was so scared. I was just like, I couldn't hardly breathe. I was crying, and they gave me something to calm my nerves, and then they also gave me the anesthesia. So I was really messed up. You get the port put in surgically. It's right here. It's like about like this big, and it has 4 dots, 4 small dots, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So the small dots, let me see. I'm gonna be ghetto for a minute. Okay. Let me show you. The dots, okay. Like 4 dots. This is sugar, but whatever. Okay, there's 4 dots. And you would fill the dots. The doctor fills the dots, or the nurse, whatever. So every time you get stuck in your port, you get stuck in between the dots. You use the dots as a guidance. So they fill for the dots, and then they stick the needle right in the middle of the dots. It's just like an IV. And then they draw the blood, and if they get a good blood return, then they start, they hook you up to the IV, and that's how they run your medicine. They run your fluids, they run your pain medicine, all through the port. You have to get your port cleaned. It has to be cleaned and flushed every 3 to 4 weeks. I get mine done every 4 weeks, because if you don't, it could clot up. And then this right here is connected to like your heart, so you don't want it to get an infection, and the infection goes into your heart and all that stuff. A port can kill you if it is not taken care of properly. When you every time a nurse or anyone accesses your port, your face should be turned away from your port, this way. Your face will be this way. The nurse will be on this side. They're going to clean it real good. They're going to have on a mask. If he or she does not have on a mask, request them to put on a mask. They can't tell you no. You don't want this to get infected, and it can easily get infected. I know a girl who's had about 3 or 4 in the last 2 years. That's a lot of ports. So you have your face this way. They have on their mask. They're cleaning it. They'll give you some numbing spray if that's what you need. And then they feel for it. They tell you, take a deep breath, and you hold it, and when they push it in, you release your breath, because, it hurts. It's really quick. If a person has no experience with ports, do not be their guinea pig. Don't let them try it out on you first. You can say, can I have someone with experience start my port? You don't want anyone inexperienced to mess around with your port. This is serious business. You can die from this. If it's not handled properly, you can die. You can have seizures from the infection. The infection can just grow everywhere. It could be horrible. So don't be scared or shy or whatever to tell someone, I don't want you accessing my port. This is your life you're dealing with, not theirs. After they access your port, well, when they de-access your port, you need to make sure they flush it and then they use heparin. Always use heparin when your port is de-accessed. Always make sure they use heparin. You can ask, you can say, let me see. Remember, you can ask whatever you want. This is your body. This is you. This is your life that they're playing around with. You don't want any mistakes. So ask all the questions you want to ask. So this is a port. A port is used to give me medicine, to give me blood, to everything. Everything an IV is used for, that's what a port is used for. Your port lasts for a while. It lasts like basically until it gets infected. When it gets infected, you have to take it out and you have to get it put somewhere else. This is my first port. I did not want a port. Like for 3 years, they're like, get a port, get a port, get a port. I did my research, the infection, like the risk, and I didn't want, I was self-conscious. I did not want that big bulge sticking out. You kind of can see it a little when I turn to the side. But when my port is de-accessed, you can see it's kind of raised a little bit. And when I wear like low-cut shirts, you can see it. I'm comfortable with it now. But the first time I got dressed after my port healed, my first time getting dressed, I had like a nervous breakdown. I was in my closet screaming and hollering and throwing a tantrum because every shirt I put on, I could see the port. I could see the scars. And I just was crying. I just could not stop crying. My mom was like, calm yourself down. My boyfriend was like, it's not that bad. Thanks, babe, but it is bad. He was like, it's not that bad. Nothing's wrong with it. Just put on a shirt. Stop acting like that. But I just felt self-conscious. But I got over it because this is my life. I gotta do what I gotta do to stay alive. And at the end of the day, if that means putting in a port, 4 ports, one here, whatever. Gotta do what I gotta do. So this is a port. I have a power port. They're all different kind of ports. I have a power port. It came with a bracelet, and you put the bracelet on, so in case of an emergency or something, someone hits your car and you're unconscious, they'll see that you have a port because you have like the wristband. I don't wear my wristband. I don't even like people to know I wear a port because then it comes with the questions like, why do you have it, and what is sickle cell, and all this stuff. And Google is your friend. Google is your friend. My friend too. Yours too. Google is your friend. You can find out what sickle cell is like that. When I get blood transfusions, my port is used for that too. So this port is actually a lifesaver because I used to get stuck like 10, 11 times before they even gave me any medicine. I finally decided that I needed to get the port last time I was in the hospital. Well, a few times. The last time before I got my port when I was in the hospital, took them 4 hours to get a vein. And during those 4 hours, knowing that I was at a hospital and they couldn't help me, they were giving me my meds like in my muscles. But it does not last that long that way. You need it in that vein. They were putting it in my muscles for 4 hours, and it was not helping. I felt like I'm at a hospital and I can't get any help. So I finally was like, I gotta get the port. Even though I didn't want the port, I didn't want the scars or whatever, I needed the port. So this is what a port is. It looks like this because it's accessed. When it's not accessed, there's nothing there but like a raised little bump. And you can see because I'm so skinny, you can see the 4 dots. And there's none of this. That yellow butterfly needle is not in there. The white part, that's not in there either. This is only there when you're accessed. But if it's not accessed, it's just a few scars. a little few scars in my port. People do stare at you, but it is life, whatever. People are gonna stare at you anyways. Even if you don't have a goddamn port, they'll still stare at you and just look at you crazy. I say don't be embarrassed of your port, because people are embarrassed of their port. Embrace it. It's who you are. It doesn't make you. It keeps you alive. It does not make you. So I don't think you should feel sad, and I got over it quickly. Like, I was sad, but I'm like, whatever. Support. I'm still living, still good. You just want to make sure you take care of that port. And when you have your port access, and make sure you don't get it wet when you get in the shower. Do not get it wet. You don't want an infection in your port. That can be like serious. That can be deadly. You don't want that at all. But basically that's it. That's what a port is. A port is a lifesaver. Saves lives all the time. There are little kids in my sickle cell group who have 2 ports. They have a port here and a port here. It's so sad, little babies. They get their ports young, like at 6 and 7 years old. But if you have any questions, write them down there, and I'll answer your questions for you. I basically covered everything. You need to make sure that when it's getting accessed, your head's turned this way. The person has on a mask, and they're not touching it with their bare hands. You could put on gloves. Heparin. Whenever it's getting de-accessed, they need to put that heparin in there. When you get in the shower, and if it's accessed, don't get it wet. Went over that part. You don't want to get punched and hit in your port. Your port can move. It can move. It can flip itself around, which is crazy. It's really crazy. Basically, that's it. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. But, yep, that's my port. And as you can see in my background, I'm here in the hospital. I really don't want to be here. I want to be out somewhere, somebody party. Hey, go. That's where I want to be. I don't want to be here. I'm here, like, eating cake, drinking all this soda. Did I mention I was eating cake? I was eating cake. That's what I'm doing. Eating cake. But I gotta go. I love you guys. Any questions that you need, feel free to ask me, because I'm here for you. Bye-bye.